before we get started, I just want to thank you for coming through, checking us out. Also, links below to all of our various social networking outlets. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it, leave a comment, jump in, don't be shy, and always, please, make sure you subscribe for more. Enjoy the video. Peace. What is the deal, beautiful people? It is your boy Ramon. This is your Note 4 review. What a beautiful phone, man. Let me just say, I feel like this phone, the legacy of the Note, is definitely one that needs no introduction. And when reviewing this phone, I almost feel like I'm reviewing an iPhone. And I want you to understand what I mean by that. You know, usually when you review an iPhone, or when I do typically, there isn't much to be excited about because certain things are already a standard. You know the build quality is top notch. You know the ecosystem around it is unquestionable. You know the camera is superb. You already know what you're getting. So really what you're reviewing is the little bits and pieces that are added on a yearly fashion that really set it apart from the year before. This is true of the Note, but I feel like the Note has a much slower hardware cycle, which is good, but the Note's also got the Galaxy S, the phones tossed in between, and they sort of sprinkle them both, which is fine. But to me, I've got a long-standing quarrel with the Galaxy S, the S phones. They just can't seem to get the performance on those things right. There's stutter and lag all over the place. But my experience with the Notes have always been the opposite. They're just solid performers, man. And they're known for that. And I feel like Samsung, they just continue that here. And the Note 4 is such a dope device. Now, the story here in the Note 4 is definitely this metal design, and this has been a point of, I don't know, it depends on what side of the fence you stand on. This has been a point for a lot of people to really hate this phone, and a lot of people to really love this phone, and for whatever reason, probably for the better, if you're asking my opinion, Samsung went with the metal design. Now, this is a trade-off because the metal can easily be dented, and as time go on, it starts to show wear and tear, where I feel like the plastic was much more durable. But my God, does the metal, it gives you that premium device feel that you've always been paying for with the Note, but you sort of never felt in your hand because it was all plastic. So yeah, it's got that metal design that I really adore. I can't say it's the most beautiful phone I've seen, but it is probably the best feeling phone in the hand. It is an attractive design. Let me make that very clear. But does it look as good as the new iPhones, the 6 and the 6 Plus? No. Does it look as good as something like the 930 with that metal band? Kinda, sorta. But that's just my personal preference. I'm sure other people will love it more or hate it more than I do. But they did a good job with the chamfered edges on both sides. Man, it just feels really nice. So off on the left side, you've got your volume rockers, which have a very nice tactile feedback to them. And those things even have chamfered edges. Like, Samsung went to town on this thing. Off to the right is your lonesome power button, which again, chamfered feel right there. It's nice. It's really nice, man. To the bottom, you've got that charging port and the dock for your stylus. Is that what you would call that, a dock? Where you would put your S Pen. Let's just say that. And to the top, you've got, looks like the IR blaster and your millimeter jack for your headphones. So yeah, to the back there is still that fingerprint reader that I must confess is still a joke, and I wasted my time to test it, but it's there. There's the 16 megapixel camera, and there's the speaker at the back, which does sound a lot better than the last iteration on the Note 3, but it still needs some work. I would like to see them sort of challenge HTC's boom sound with the front-facing speakers. That's something I feel like this is the one thing that the Note as a flagship is missing. And at the front, you've got that gorgeous 5.7-inch display, Quad HD or 2K, whoever you wanna ask and how they're branding it. That's what it is. AMO LED, of course. It's got a crazy resolution of 2560 by 1440. What does that mean? It's just beautiful. I think the only device that I've seen that may look a little better than this or slightly under it is the G3, and I got to get up with Tawan to really turn these things on and look at them, but it is a stunning display to look at. Kudos to Samsung, man. They did a good job with this display. What I don't like about the front of the device, obviously you've got that fingerprint reader making its way over from the Galaxy. It's not showtime for that at all. Just because of the way it operates, you slide your finger down as opposed to the Apple's Touch ID where it's just whatever direction it's not, it's a 360 experience, so it doesn't matter if you touch it upside down or whatever. Here it's a very specific motion you need to do, and until you train your thumb on how to do it, you're gonna be very frustrated like I was. I still haven't gotten used to it, but I mean, whatever. You're looking at owning this phone for a while, 6 months plus, it's fine, you'll get used to it. One thing that really bothered me was the way the multitask and the back menus were they're hidden under the design on the bottom, but there's some lines on the design. I can't for the life of me understand why they would do that. I felt like that was so sloppy. Whatever. Performance wise, it's got that beast Snapdragon 805 processor, clock at 2.7 gigahertz of core for whoever the hell cares. It's got 3 gigs of RAM and a monster 3200 milliamp battery. In terms of performance, I think the only thing that really matters here is it's got everything in the kitchen sink, but that battery, whoa, the battery life on this thing is amazing. And that is something that I can't say about an Android phone without thinking twice. And it's dope to see that Samsung sort of tackled that here. I know Motorola's been at it for a while, but Samsung is definitely not too far behind. And I want to avoid comparisons like, yeah, but this one's got 48 hours and this one's got 42 hours. Like, no, the point here is, depending on your use case, you will at the very least be able to get through a full day without charge. This guy made it about 2.5 days for me, which is on par with my Lumia. And man, amazing, just simply amazing. In terms of features, this is where Samsung either breaks it or makes it for you. This was a problem with the Galaxy S5, and it continues to be a problem here, where there's just so much to this phone, man. Like, from the minute you turn it on, there's tutorials, there's shit popping up at you, there's noises going on, there's things following your finger. Like, I don't know what's going on this phone. Like, if I didn't have to review it, if I was keeping this phone for my daily driver, I would have to find some way to get TouchWiz the hell up off of this phone. And it's not that it's particularly terrible like it used to be. It's just too much, and that in terms makes it bad for me. But there are people out there that like to know that their phone can do infinite amounts of silliness when waving their hand in front of it and scrolling with their eyes. Listen, they spent their R&D in this, and at this point, these gimmick-ish features are very solid. They actually work now, and yeah, put them in there. Why not? I really have no quarrel with that, but I feel like this is something that can go either way depending on the type of person you are. You could either think it's too overbearing like I did, and you want something a little more simple, or you could just, you know, can't get enough features. That's why you spend your money. Hey, what am I to say? The features that really stand out to me though was the adaptive fast charging. This thing can get from 0 to 50% in about 30 minutes. I think that's dope. The power saving mode, when it hits 10%, you can still get texts and calls up to 24 hours later. I thought that was really cool. The multi-window UI that they've got going on there, where you can split it into like 2 or 4 apps running at a time, even though you can't do it with every app. It's getting better, and it is kind of dope to see it work, especially with the resolution of the screen. You know, it just works. The fingerprint reader, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I still think it's a really cool feature, and I wish they would find a way to develop that a little more. But it's still deserving of mention. And of course, when you talk Note, you can't omit the S Pen. And this is one of those things where I always sort of side-eyed the Note because I was a huge Windows Mobile fan, and you know, shout out to XDA. I put a lot of hours in over there. I was a moderator for a lot of you guys who don't know. I used to be a good dude in the community. You know, we fought long and hard for our styluses in the iPhone era when Steve Jobs came out and said, nope, styluses are stupid. And then Samsung came out and said, ha, styluses are back. And they incorporated some really dope features. I felt a little way about that. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, for all the millions of people out there that bought an iPhone, said I would never buy a stylus, now they're coming back to a stylus. But, you know, Samsung's got some noteworthy features in there. Pardon the pun. You know, they've got the action memo, which is cool. Lets you, I guess, just freestyle a note, or like you would on a notepad. You could do some voice stuff there even. They've got the Smart Select. They've got the image clip, which I think is really dope. You can literally draw a selection around something and excerpt it and, you know, email it, do whatever you need. And then you got the screen write, where it takes sort of a screenshot or whatever's going on, and you can make notations of that screenshot. So, you know, they did a good job with the S Pen. I have no quarrels with that. For me, the number one feature, or the whatever you want to call it, what makes this phone so dope is definitely the camera. And this is coming from a Lumia guy. And I gave up my 1020 a long time ago. I felt like the screen real estate on the 1520 was worth it, and the spec increase. And I have not been completely happy with the camera on the 1520, but I still held it in high regards in aspects that it's still much better than whatever else was out there. And even I still think it's not as technically sharp or crisp as the iPhone, the newer cameras they have, but I feel like that lossless zoom that Nokia does is key. And that's how I do a lot of my photography now. And I really wasn't expecting much from Samsung, especially given the fact that it's pretty much the same lens, the same optics from the S5. But let me tell you, this is hands down the best camera I've used on a cell phone so far. Man, this thing is sharp. The only problem I have with the camera per se is the color reproduction seems to be a little suspect sometimes. And I think that could be, it's probably because it has a hard time adjusting the white balance at a quick enough rate, or doing it intelligently. But man, this camera is sharp. 16 megapixel shooter. It's got the optical image stabilization, which makes all the difference in low light photography and even just regular photography when moving. These things are always sharp. And part of the other big deal here, which I haven't dived in yet, I got the new GoPro, and we're gonna start doing some 4K stuff, especially for our I guess you would call them vlogs. Our random moments is what we call them. We're gonna ramp that up in 4K for you guys, and look forward to the feedback. But the Note was a contender for that, to be able to really shoot that video. You know what I mean? And I think it does a good job. I did some test video, and it looked amazing, man. It's just a solid performer. But I must say, I was very, very impressed with the images that I was able to get from the Note 4's camera. Man, Samsung really knocked it out of the box there. And I think if you know, mobile photography is a big deal to you, then you're going to be happy with this guy. So overall, I think Samsung did an absolutely terrific job at maintaining the essence of what makes the Note a Note, and they managed to add on some of the features and improve on a lot of their offerings in terms of TouchWiz and the UI and whatnot. And like I said, when you say the word Note, you know what to expect. Ridiculous specs, right? The fastest processor, the most RAM, the biggest battery, all that's here. And you get this gorgeous display that's still pushing the boundary. Now, the interesting conversation to be had around a comparison between the Note and anything on the market, and I want to use the word comparison really carefully, because I don't want to compare it to anything. I feel like when people watch a review, they want to know, is this phone good? You know, what's the bads, what's the good? Tell me the real. And then they go watch another review on something like the LG 3, and then they make their own comparison. I don't want to compare it for you guys. And it's not a good thing to compare specs to specs, because that's usually not even half the story. But interestingly enough, I felt like the Notes were they were a niche, right? They're the godfather of this, what we call phablet thing, where they're pushing the boundaries. Like, is this too big for a phone? Is a 5-inch display too big? Is a 5.5-inch display? What about 5.6? And now here we are at 5.7. I don't think the Note has that niche market anymore. You know, you look at phones like the LG G3, you got the new Nexus 9, or I'm sorry, the new Nexus 6 release. That's got a 6-inch display. You got my beloved 1520 6-inch display. So it's no longer in a league of its own. And I think that's noteworthy. Again, with the pun. I think that's something to pay attention to. There are other options, and literally in a very realistic manner, the only thing that separates Samsung's offering from, like, say, a LG is that S Pen. And, you know, whether or not you like the TouchWiz interface that Samsung offers, and that could be something that pushes you away from it, which is also fine. But the little things like making the design finally metal and still having the removable back where people can get to the battery, you know, that was a sacrifice with something like the HTC M8. I feel like Samsung's in good shape here. And the Note, man, the Note 4 is definitely probably the best Android phone on the market right now, because of the offerings that it has. I'm sure people can start to make comparisons about this and that, but I listen, I like the story here. I like where the Note came from, what it was, where it's going, and how Samsung handled the next iteration of their project. I can't not recommend this. I have no problem recommending this to anyone who wants an Android phone. Are there other close recommendations? Sure, but to me, the Note 4 is all dopeness. I would love to see a Windows Phone version of this. Anyway, it's your boy Ramon. Slap that like button if you like the review. Leave me a comment. I want to know what you guys are using. If you're thinking about the Note 4, if you want to pick it up, leave a comment below. I'll be happy to answer some questions, do some more tests for you. I'm out of here, guys. Peace. What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Ramon. I just want to thank you for checking out the video, and I hope you really liked it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, join the conversation, leave a comment below, and also make sure you subscribe. That way you know when we have new content, new videos available for you to enjoy. Don't forget to stop by the website. We release videos over there first, so if you want to get that exclusive look, check the website. And also, for so much more content, articles on fashion, technology, entertainment, you name it, It's on the website. And yes, social networking, Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, and even Instagram. Instagram is my favorite. Come follow us on Instagram. It's your boy Ramon. Thanks again. I'm out of here. Peace.